We have made it to the month of May here in Season 2 of the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB The Show 24. And so far, our Giants have significantly outperformed expectations, or at least relative to where we were a year ago, as we're currently 19-13. Albeit, we've had a pretty easy schedule so far. I mean, our last two series were against the Rockies and the A's, so that'll happen. But nonetheless, we're beating the teams on the schedule, but it's going to get a lot harder in May, and that starts immediately with a 3-game set against the Dodgers, and it doesn't get any easier from there. We've got more good teams like Chicago, Toronto, Cleveland, Seattle, etc. We're going to take our first look at the minor leagues today. That includes the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Scott Rios, our first rounder from last year's draft, Kyler Rodriguez, our international free agent signing, Vicente Alegre, amongst others. So we're going to play 3 games today. Buckle up. Busy episode. One at the major league level, one at AAA, and one at AA. We're going to start in AA with the Richmond Flying Squirrels, who are a AA super team with a record of 19-3. And that record does not look to be a fluke. Our runs scored is almost doubled our runs allowed. Everybody on this team is clicking. Most of our high upside prospects reside on this roster. That includes Edwin Arroyo, who of course was part of the Matt Chapman trade last year with Cincinnati. Vicente Alegre, our international free agent signing. The catcher from Mexico got off to a rocket-hot start. He's cooled off over the last couple of weeks, but overall has had a really good first month with us. Kyler Rodriguez, our first-round draft pick from a year ago, hailing from the Dominican Republic. He as well has gotten off to a strong start. Obviously, the power numbers look really good, but I'm most impressed by the plate skills. A walk-to-strikeout ratio completely even. 15 walks already is really impressive. His discipline is way farther along than I would have expected. Now, obviously, the key with Rodriguez is staying healthy, and so far, he has been able to for the most part. Other notable prospects here include Bryce Eldridge, Rainer Arias, and Maui Ahuna. We will be without second-round pick Elijah Warren, as the former infielder out of Virginia Tech pulled his hamstring. He has not gotten off to a very hot start, but we will not see him today. In terms of pitching, obviously the name to watch here is Scott Rios, the 18-year-old lefty from Mexico who we drafted in the 4th round last year. Rios has a higher potential than anybody in his draft class at 98, and obviously we're going to pitch with him today, getting a first look at the top prospect in all of baseball. Our opponent will be the Senators of Harrisburg, so we're going to simulate these next 3 games, ultimately winning 2 of them. That last game we won 4-0 with a great showing by Joe Whitman, and another home run for Kyler Rodriguez, his 7th of the year. So that'll bring us into the Scott Rios start. He leads the 21-4 Richmond Flying Squirrels, who are playing incredible baseball through the first month of the year. And I'll also point out that I downloaded the real-life minor league stadiums off of the Vault. So this is the real stadium that the Flying Squirrels play in. Our opponent is the Harrisburg Senators, the AA affiliate of the Washington Nationals. They're only 9-16 so far, not the best start. Let's take a look at Scott Rios, who, of course, again, leads the way for Richmond. He's been rock solid this season. 2.92 ERA, 1.26 whip. None of his numbers blow off the table. That's kind of who he is. He's just super well-rounded. The one attribute that really sticks out is that he throws quite hard. He'll start things off with Campbell, who goes down on the fastball. Rios has had a solid strikeout rate this year, around 17%. Now facing off against former top 5 pick Elijah Green, and he goes down looking. Green is built like a linebacker. It's no secret, with his dad, of course, being a 10-year NFL veteran. That'll bring you up Gene Lewis, who chases the changeup, and Scott Rios strikes out the side to start things off here for the Flying Squirrels as we go to the bottom of the first and we take a look at the native of South Korea, Sonu Junseo, another international free agent signing from this last season. Junseo's been a bright spot here for the Senators. He is 0-2. But in 5 starts, has an ERA at 1.65 and a whip at 1.19. It's certainly not his fault as to why this team is struggling. Jeremy De La Rosa leads things off, and he will draw a walk. De La Rosa was acquired in the offseason in a trade from, fittingly, the Washington Nationals, so it's a revenge game for him. Vicente Alegre with a single up the middle into center field. De La Rosa's headed for third, and he is safe. So a base hit for Alegre, the switch-hitting catcher And with that, there's runners on the corners for the first-round draft pick, Kyler Rodriguez. 2-2. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Rodriguez wanted to take a big cut out of that one, but ultimately is not able to make a play, and we'll move into the second. Andy Yerzy is up with 2 away. He flies it into left, and it is caught by Rodriguez. We've had Kyler Rodriguez be the DH throughout the entire year. This is actually his first time all year where he's played the field. Every time I see him running, I'm going to be worried that he pulls a hamstring or something. Here's Thomas Gavello with a single into right. Gavello is hitting right around 400 this year. Not one of our big-time prospects on the roster, but he's been really good thus far. That'll bring up Rainer Arias. Of course, he's a highly ranked prospect at only 19 years old as he singles into right. So first and second, 1 away. Big opportunity here for Richmond to capitalize. They didn't in the last inning. We'll see what Maui Ahuna can do here as he rips this one into right field at the track. At the wall, it's gone! A 3-run home run for Maui Ahuna, his second of the year, and the former Tennessee Volunteer will put Richmond ahead 3-0. That was a line drive. Did not have a very high launch angle, but it didn't need to. He hit the ball so hard. 2 away now for Edwin Arroyo, the native of Puerto Rico. He rips this one into the gap in left center. That'll go for a base knock, and it appears the Flying Squirrels are not done yet, despite the 3-run homer from Ahuna. That'll bring up Vicente Alegre with a base hit in his last at-bat, and it looks like he'll get another one. So there's 2 on, 2 outs, another high leverage at-bat for the first-rounder, Kyler Rodriguez, who struck out last time. He's behind in the count here, 1-2, with 2 on, 2 out, and a 3-0 lead. And Rodriguez gets a piece of this one into right field. No doubt about it. A 3-run blast for Kyler Rodriguez, his 8th of the year, and the Flying Squirrels are flying. Pun intended, as it is now 6-0. A big swing for K-Rod, who clubs a ball into right, and unlike the home run from Ahuna, that one was an absolute no-doubter. We got to look at this swing again. I'm so excited about Rodriguez's power. I think he's a guy who very well could be one of the best power hitters in Major League Baseball, health permitting, and we've already seen the flashes early in his first professional season. Sonu Jensea won't even make it out at the second inning. He'll be replaced by the righty Tyler Scuff, who looks to get Harrisburg out of the inning, in which they've already allowed 6. It's Andres Chaparro, who was acquired in an offseason trade with Arizona, and he will ground this one over to short, fielded cleanly by Will Wilson, who we know he was in the Jeremy De La Rosa trade last year, and he makes the play. But a big inning for Richmond with a pair of 3-run homers by Maui Ahuna, followed by the first-round rookie Kyler Rodriguez, and the Flying Squirrels lead it 6-0. So Scott Rios has plenty of run support as he faces off against Pickney to lead off the third, singles into center. And Harrisburg gets their first base runner of the game. It only took them a 6-0 deficit to do that. Paul Witt is aboard with a walk, and the Senators appear to be in business a little bit with 2 runners to start the inning. Yoander Rivero grounds this one to second. Arroyo flips it to Ahuna. Over to Eldridge for a 4-6-3 double play. Good defense by the Richmond infield. And now we'll see if Drew Campbell can drive in the runner from third. It looks like he will. This ball drops in front of De La Rosa in center. And with that, the Senators are on the board. Chris Paul hits a huge 3 to cut the lead to 43. As it's 6-1. Elijah Green strikes out for a second time today, and Rios gets through the rest of the inning unscathed. But Harrisburg is on the board, still with a lot of work to do, down by 5. Bryce Eldridge leads off the bottom of the third, a first-rounder a couple years ago, and he draws a walk. Eldridge has developed pretty well so far in the Giants system, having a strong year here in Double-A. Rainer Arias grounds it to short, and the Senators will turn 2. That'll wrap up the third. A good inning for Harrisburg, and we'll move now into the fourth. The designated hitter, Gene Lewis, rips this one into the gap. Rodriguez chases after it as he misses the angle. And that'll be a leadoff double for the speedster Lewis, who finds himself in scoring position to start the inning. We'll see if the middle of the order can bring him in. Murphy Stelly will strike out on the fastball. The swing and miss stuff from Scott Rios has been impressive so far, as he now faces off against the catcher Andy Yerzy. 2-2, 2 away. Lefty on lefty crime as it's a grounder to third, and Chaparro will just tag the runner. So Scott Rios is able to get out of the inning. 4 innings of 1-run ball so far for Rios. As we move bottom 4, Edwin Arroyo is up here for the Flying Squirrels, and he hits this one well into right. That'll go for a hit, his second of the game. I feel like all of our top prospects are really producing. Arroyo, Alegre, and Rodriguez with 5 hits combined, and we're still in the 4th inning. Alegre now looking for his 3rd hit of the game. This one's got some carry, but I don't think it will drop, as Elijah Green is there to come down with it. Other than the 2nd inning, Richmond hasn't scored today, but it hasn't mattered. They still lead 6-1. Paul Witt will look to cut into the lead, however, as this one is gone into right center, and the Senators make it 6-2. So they're going to make this game a little bit closer. That'll bring you up Drew Campbell back to the top of the order. Up the middle, gets by Rios, gets by Ahuna. And I give Harrisburg credit. Since that catastrophic 2nd inning, their offense has not only been pretty solid, but they've been noticeably better than Richmond's. Elijah Green gets a piece of this one into left center, but Jeremy De La Rosa will track it down, and Richmond holds on to a 6-2 lead. Not a bad inning, though, for Harrisburg with the homer by Witt. Into the bottom of the 5th, Kyler Rodriguez leads things off with another hit. Singles into left field, his 2nd hit of the game. Contact is certainly more of a work in progress for Rodriguez, but an underrated skill he has is his speed. Stealing second, I was a little worried he injured something sliding in there. But nonetheless, it's a stolen base for Kyler Rodriguez. He's now in scoring position for Andres Chaparro. The count is 2-2, and Chaparro hits it up the middle. That'll go for a single. They're going to send Rodriguez. The throw from Green to the plate is a good one, but Kyler is safe, and it's 7-2. I thought I saw Kyler limp a little bit as he got to the plate. Again, I got a little worried, but I think he'll be fine. Let's move into the 6th now. Will Wilson is up with 2 away, and he lines it to short, caught by Ahuna, and that'll probably do it for Scott Rios. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, another solid outing out of him. Nothing spectacular, but he continues to be highly productive. The plan is for Fernando Molina to take us through the rest of this one. Molina, a 3rd-round pick hailing from the Dominican Republic and the University of North Carolina, is the one to check in, and his numbers are pretty similar to that of Rios on the year as he strikes out Andy Yerzy on the changeup. Good pitch by Molina. Molina's strikeout rate has been pretty high this year. His best attributes are his Ks per 9 and his hits per 9 as he fools Andrew Pickney on the low changeup. Good pitch by Molina for the 2nd out of the inning. Paul Witt homered in his last at bat. Oh my goodness, there goes the bat. His bat just went flying. So now the count is 1-2. Following pitch on its way from Molina, and he will strike him out on the inside changeup. And so Fernando Molina retires the side with ease, and we'll move to the bottom of the 7th. A pitching change here for the Senators. Got to give their long reliever credit for not letting this lead completely get out of hand. Dustin Sands will come into the game, and he's been brilliant so far, only having allowed 1 run in just over 16 innings. Against Kyler Rodriguez, he pops this one up. It is worth noting that Rodriguez's stats against lefties are pretty much equal to that against righties, so that's going to be useful. He's not a guy who's going to sit against left-handed pitching. That'll bring us into the 8th inning. Yoander Rivero will lead things off, and he grounds it to 3rd. Chaparro is unable to grab it, and his throw to first will obviously be not in time. So that's going to be ruled as a base hit. Not an easy play for Chaparro, but I feel like it's a play he could have made. Drew Campbell back at the top of the order. Grounds it to first. What a play by Eldridge. Looking to get 2, and he won't. The throw to second is offline. Runner would have been safe anyway. Elijah Green now with 1 away. Rips it into left. That goes for a hit. We're going to see Kyler Rodriguez's arm now. And hint, hint, it's not all that good. His arm is one of his big weaknesses. Even though he's listed as a right fielder, I think his arm will ultimately keep him out of right field for us, especially considering how much space there is in Oracle Park's right center area. Here's a strikeout to wrap up the inning. It's Murphy Stelly who goes down. Elijah Green does drive in a run, though, making it 7-3 as the Senators continue to make this game a little bit closer. Lucas Knowles out of the bullpen here for Harrisburg in the bottom of the 8th. He'll face off against pinch hitter Iverson Arteaga with a full count. Grounder to short. Wilson, what a play! Throw to first is in time! Wilson, of course, was one of our minor league duds of the year last season, hence why he was traded. But once upon a time, he was a highly regarded prospect. Top 9, 2 away. Paul Witt hits it into left. At the track, at the wall, it's caught by Kyler Rodriguez, and that'll do it. The Richmond Flying Squirrels win it 7-3 on the backs of a good start from Scott Rios. He gets the win. And a 6-run second inning with a pair of 3-run homers by Maui Ahuna and Kyler Rodriguez. A strong win here for the Flying Squirrels, who will improve to 22-4 on the year as the 2017 Golden State Warriors of AA teams continues their strong start. Harrisburg with 3 runs, 8 hits. Their offense made some nice plays, but they had a really rough start from one of their best pitchers in Sonu Jenseo. And the bullpen did a pretty good job, but ultimately it was not enough. Our offense had 2 good of the game. And again, it was our top prospects who produced. 2 hits for Arroyo, 2 hits for Alegre, 2 hits for Rodriguez, including a homer, 2 hits for Arias. And then, of course, Scott Rios and Fernando Molina with both very strong outings to help us get the win. So the AA team wins their game. Let's check in on the other minor league squad, the AAA team, the Sacramento River Cats, who haven't quite started off as hot as the AA team. Despite being the 3rd-ranked AAA team, we're under 500. Most of our top prospects, as I mentioned, are on the AA roster, but I think this AAA team is still very interesting because there's a lot of guys here who very well could be contributing on the Major League roster sooner than later. Grant McCray had a good season last year, played a little bit in the big leagues, and has been really good so far this year. Luis Toribio is kind of the same story, but his season has gone south. He has been really bad. We have had other guys like Trevor Larnach, Owen Cassidy, and Elliot Ramos all play well. Luis Matos has been injured for a while, but he's healthy. Victor Barricotto had a good season in AA. He has not been so good. And then in terms of the pitching, we're going to play with Hayden Birdsong, one of our better starting pitching prospects. He hasn't had that good of a season. The guy who's really stood out is Keaton Wynn, who obviously was in the Giants rotation last year, didn't win a job in spring training, but so far he has been a rock star through the first month of the AAA season. So the Sacramento River Cats at 14-17 will play against the El Paso Chihuahuas, the AAA team of the San Diego Padres, who currently sit at a record of 16-15. Ethan Salas, the top catching prospect, was here to start the season, but he just recently got called up. I was hoping to play against him today, but unfortunately that will not be the case. Let's take a look at Glenn Otto, who will be getting the start here for the Chihuahuas. He's played quite a bit in the big leagues. He was a full-time starter a little bit for the Rangers a few seasons ago and has been pretty good this year with an ERA at 3.55. He'll face off against Trevor Larnach, who was acquired last year mid-season from Minnesota. And he grounds this one over to second. The play will be made by Brian Wong, and Otto is able to retire the side. Here's Hayden Birdsong, who split between AA and AAA last season. Hasn't been too good this year, but he is the highest-ranked prospect on the AAA team as he faces off against Lucas Dunn, who goes down on the four-seam fastball. Let's travel into the second. Lamont Wade gets a piece of this one into left center field. That will drop off the wall. Wade will make his way over to second with a double. Obviously, Lamont Wade is a big league veteran, but he was not playing well at all to start this season, getting sent down to AAA, and he really hasn't been much better so far. Tyler Fitzgerald rips this one down the right field line. That should be more than enough to score Wade, as Fitzgerald, with his 97 speed, is aboard second with an RBI double, and Sacramento is on the board first. They lead at 1-0. That'll bring us to Luis Toribio, moved down to the 7th spot, hitting 168. He was so good last year in AA and has just fallen off the face of the earth this year. He singles into left. Fitzgerald will go, and he is safe. Most runners would have been held up at third, but Tyler Fitzgerald is so fast that it's 2-0. That'll bring us to Danny De Andrade. He was part of the Trevor Larnach deal last year with Minnesota. Checks his swing. Umpire says he went around. Sacramento does score 2, though, as we go to the bottom of the second. Eggy Rosario is up for the Chihuahuas, and he'll fly this one into center. Another 1-2-3 inning for Hayden Birdsong, who's looking pretty good up to this point as we move into the third. Grant McCray, back to the top of the order, starts things off with a base hit. McCray was one of our minor league stud of the years last season. He got to play in the big leagues the final month of the year, and this season he's been even better. His progression has been really fun to watch. Here's Elliot Ramos with a single into center. McCray's headed for third. The throw is not in time. He's safe. Good swing for Ramos, who could be due for a big league call-up soon. He was great in spring training. It's carried over here to AAA as Trevor Larnach will avoid the double play, grounds into a fielder's choice. But most importantly, McRae will score, and that'll make it 3-0. Lamont Wade is up now. He sends this one into center. Back at the track at the wall. It's gone! A 2-run home run for Lamont Wade. His first home run of the season in the MLB or AAA. And the Sacramento River Cats now lead at 5-0. This feels like deja vu with the AA game where the offense is exploding early. So a big start for Wade, a double and a home run through the first couple of innings. That'll bring up Owen Cassey, who was acquired from the Cubs this offseason for Wilmer Flores. He rips it up the middle. Play is made by Eggy Rosario. Throw to first is not in time. Good hustle by Owen Cassey, and he's aboard with an infield single. The base runners are just going to keep on coming. Pause. No diddy. That'll bring up Luis Toribio looking for his second hit of the game, and he'll get it. Rips it into the gap. One hops off the wall. Cassey rounds third. Heads home. He is safe. An RBI double for Luis Toribio, who's 2 for 2 so far. And Sacramento leads 6-0. So Glenn Otto's going to finally be yanked out of the game. And he'll be replaced by Rice Nur. 3.04 ERA and 26 2/3 innings for the righty. He'll face off against the catcher Brandon Martirano. And he gets hit. Okay, well that's one way to get another base runner. Danny DeAndrade up the middle. Singles it into center. Run looks to score. The other runner looks for third. He is safe, and now it's 7-0. Grant McRae led off the inning. He's back up, and he skies this one into left, but it will be caught by Paul McIntosh. Big inning for the River Cats. They leave 2, but they score 5. Batting around as it's 7-0, and we go into the bottom of the third. Still no base runners yet for El Paso until now. A walk for Paul McIntosh, primarily a catcher playing here in the outfield. Speaking of catchers, Brandon Valenzuela will draw a walk himself. Will Brennan now hits this one well into right. One hops off the wall. McIntosh scores at 7-1. Valenzuela gets the stop sign for the third baseman, but he keeps going because apparently he's Helen Keller. And with that, the River Cats get their second out of the inning. That'll bring us to Dunn. He strikes out. And Sacramento gets out of the inning only having allowed 1. And it's 7-1 going into the fourth. Elliot Ramos is up, got a hit in the last inning. And it looks like he'll get another one here. His second of the game as it rolls by the center fielder. Ramos is going to look to pass through second, realizes his mistake, goes back, and is out. But we paid the umpires, so they're going to rule him safe. It really looked like Elliot Ramos was out. But apparently he wasn't. As we look at the replays here, I feel like he was out. I don't know what the umpires saw, but I am not complaining. A leadoff double for Elliot Ramos. That'll bring up Trevor Larnach, who looks to drive him in. And he'll do so with no problem, as that will be an RBI single. And the River Cats now lead it 8-1. The offense is on fire. They've been even better than the AA offense. Lamont Wade's looking for his third hit of the game, and he will not get it. He grounds it to short. This could go for 2, and it does. The Chihuahuas needed that one pretty badly, being that, well, today has not really been their day. Let's go bottom 4. Brian Wan leads things off against Birdsong. Grounder to second. DeAndrade deflects it, but there will be no throw to first as Wanya is saved pretty easily with a single. That'll bring us to Derek Johnson, first-round pick a year ago out of LSU, a player who we liked a lot. Singles into center. Run looks to score. And he is safe. So Derek Johnson is able to bring in a run. And the power-hitting outfielder makes it 8-2. That'll bring up Nathan Martorella. He singles into center. And the hits are really starting to string together for El Paso. They lead off the fourth with 3 consecutive base hits. Eggy Rosario makes it 4. Single into right. Derek Johnson is waved around. He's safe. And the Chihuahuas are making it interesting as it's now 8-3. That'll bring us to Samuel Zavala. Grounds it to first. This could go for 2. Wade misses the throw to Fitzgerald. Everybody's safe. Should have been a double play, but now the bases are loaded with nobody out. The Chihuahuas are making this a game. With 1 gone, Brandon Valenzuela flies it into center. Caught by McRae. Martorella looks to score. He is safe off the sacrifice, and El Paso brings the lead down to 4. That'll bring up Will Brennan. Crushes it into right. Larnach chases after it, and he makes the catch! What a play by Trevor Larnach, saving probably 2 runs from being scored. A Sports Center-worthy defensive play by Trevor Larnach. Big inning for the Chihuahuas, but a momentum zap for Sacramento as we go into the top of the 5th. Luis Toribio, his 3rd hit of the game. As bad as he's been this year, he's looking awfully good today, 3 for 3. It doesn't look like he'll stay on base as Brandon Martirano will ground out into a double play, and that'll wrap up the top of the 5th. With Hayden Birdsong's 4th inning being a complete disaster, that could have gone a lot worse, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to yank him here before the 5th, and it'll be R.J. Dabovich who comes in to replace him. We'll start with Lucas Dunn. Hits it well into left. Ramos is unable to make the catch, as that'll be a leadoff double for Lucas Dunn, and the El Paso offense just looks completely energized. Despite being down by as many as 7, they are alive and well. Brian Wan gets that one by Toribio for a base hit. The runner will wisely not test Elliot Ramos. He would have been out by a mile. 1st and 3rd for Derek Johnson, who grounds it to 2nd. This could be 2, and it is. Run scores, but still a successful at bat for the River Cats, being that they were able to turn the double play, and we'll move into the 6th. 8-5 is your score. Danny DeAndrade, single into right to start things off. Everybody's eating on this offense. That's now 13 base hits for Sacramento. Grant McCray is up next, and he hits this one well into right center. At the track, at the wall, it's gone! 2-run blast for Grant McCray. That's his 6th of the year, which is amongst the AAA league leaders. And it's now 10-5. Right when El Paso's starting to get some momentum, McCray makes a big play, and that'll lead to a pitching change for the Chihuahuas, with Randy Vasquez coming in. He'll face off against Lamont Wade. He draws a walk, reaches base for a 3rd time today. That'll bring us to Tyler Fitzgerald. He drove in Wade earlier all the way back in the 2nd, and this time he strikes out. Good inning, though, for Sacramento with the home run by Grant McCray as we go into the bottom of the 6th. Luke Jackson will come into the game. He's only allowed 1 run in 9 2/3 innings. Jackson, obviously, last year in the big leagues was not good, but here in AAA he's been a lot better as he strikes out Iggy Rosario to lead things off. That'll bring us to Samuel Zavala, one of the better prospects in the Padres organization. Full count, and he draws a walk. So a base runner here for the Chihuahuas with 1 away. Paul McIntosh now rips this one past the diving glove of Luis Toribio into left for a base hit. He's looking for extras. The runner at 3rd will stay. But now there's a pair of runners in scoring position. That'll bring up Brendan Valenzuela. He draws a walk. So Luke Jackson's not looking too good. He's going to be yanked for Reggie Crawford, the 2-way player, who's going to look to get out of the jam. And he's had a nice season, 2.13 ERA. Facing off against Will Brennan. Full count, draws a walk. That's the 3rd walk of the inning, and that'll drive in a run. That'll bring up Lucas Dunn. He draws a walk. Of the 5 base runners in this inning, 4 of them have been walks. Another run is walked in. It's 10-7. Brian Wan flies out into right. A diving play by Larnach, but that'll score a run off the sacrifice, making it 10-8. The Chihuahuas have brought the lead all the way down to 2. Derek Johnson, the go-ahead run, strikes out on the fastball. So Sacramento is able to hold on to their lead. This has been a wild game. For those of you who like offense, this has been a treat. Durbin Feltman comes out of the bullpen here for El Paso to enter the 7th. It seems like right when the Chihuahuas have been able to string some runs together, the River Cats have been quick to respond, and Owen Cassie looks to keep that rolling as he sends this one into the gap for a leadoff double. So Cassie is aboard once again. That'll bring up Luis Toribio, who's 3 for 3 today, looking for a 4th hit. We'll see if he can get it. A base hit here would presumably drive in the run, and that's exactly what happens. What a day for Luis Toribio. Cassie looks to score. He slides in safely as it's 11-8 with the RBI single by Luis Toribio. That'll bring up the catcher, Brandon Martirano, the only guy who really hasn't done anything on offense, and his rough day continues. Grounds it to short, 6-4-3, double play. Good work there by the River Cats. We'll go bottom 7. Landon Roop is into the game. He's had a really good season out of the bullpen. was good last year in the minors, played a little bit in the big leagues at the end of the season against Eggy Rosario. Another walk. How many walks are these pitchers going to throw? They have the control of the 5-year-old kid in the candy aisle. That'll bring us to Paul McIntosh with 2 away, flies it into right, caught by Larnach. Finally, a scoreless inning. 11-8 going into the 8th, with Sean Reynolds making his first appearance here in the AAA season. With 2 away, he meets Trevor Larnach, who hits this one well into right center, and that one is gone. Another home run for Sacramento. They add to the lead. It's 12-8. Larnach with his 5th of the year. Another guy who very well could be called up to the big leagues pretty soon with how well he's performing, but he'll be competing with Elliot Ramos and Grant McCray, who have been just as good. Theo Denlinger will pitch the 9th for the Chihuahuas as he faces off against Luis Toribio, looking for his 5th hit of the game, and he'll get it. What a night for Luis Toribio, who was hitting 160 going into the game. This is the Luis Toribio we saw last year in AA. This is the Luis Toribio we were hoping to get in spring training, competing for a starting job. And Brandon Martirano is going to add some salt to the wound with a 2-run homer into left. That'll make it 14-8 in favor of Sacramento. The run entourage will not stop. Let's go bottom 9. Eggy Rosario, 3-2. Swinging to this. And that is how this game finally comes to a close. A ton of offense here. Both lineups hitting the cover off the ball, but it is the Sacramento River Cats who win it 14-8. Everybody dominated on offense. McCray, 2 for 6. Homer, 2 RBIs. 2 hits for Ramos. 2 hits for Larnach. He drove in 3, including a homer. Wade, 2 for 3. 2 walks. 2 RBIs and a home run. Luis Toribio, 5 for 5. Drove in 3 runs, scored twice. Martirano homered at the end. Hayden Birdsong had a rough 4th inning, but other than that was pretty good. The bullpen was a little shaky, especially with all the walks. 8 runs allowed normally is not going to win as a game, but, well, the offense dominated, scoring in 7 separate innings, 4 of which we scored multiple runs. My goodness. So the minor league offense has had quite the days. 21 combined runs through those first 2 games. Hopefully the big league club can have similar luck. So let's check in here on the Giants, who are going to be entering a pivotal stretch here in May. We're 19-13, second place in the division. We could theoretically tie the Dodgers if we sweep them. We're currently the number 1 wild card in the National League. But again, keep in mind, we've had a really easy schedule so far, and it's going to get a lot harder here in the month of May. Notable performers include Jun-Hoo Lee, who has been arguably even better than he was last year. I didn't know that was possible. J.P. Crawford's been playing great. Blake Sabol's having another really good season. Joey Gallo's been impressive. Tyro Estrada has played very well as of recent. And then, in terms of the pitchers, Blake Snell, we talked about him in the last episode. He won the National League Pitcher of the Month for April. Logan Webb hasn't been so good. The rest of the rotation's been inconsistent, although Kyle Harrison has been really impressive so far. We're going to pitch with him today, as we will be playing the second of a 3-game set against the Dodgers. I wanted an excuse to play against pitcher Shohei Ohtani, so we're going to simulate through the first game against LA. It'll be Michael Lorenzen on the bump against Dustin May, and we would ultimately get an opportunity to hop in. Top of the 8th, we are up 4-5, but the Dodgers have loaded the bases. 2 outs. Mookie Betts is up, and he pops it into right. Kepler is under it, and he will make the play. The Dodgers leave them loaded. It feels really nice to be on the other end of the bases being left loaded. Top 9, Camilo Doval allows a couple early base runners, and we've got to get him out of the jam with the potential winning run at first base. Chris Taylor is up with 1 away, the 1-2. Got him looking on the sinker. Big strikeout for Doval. It comes down to the former Giant, Michael Conforto, who was part of the J.P. Crawford trade last year, and he goes down looking as well. The Giants win Game 1 of the 3-game set here against the Dodgers, 5-4, with the offense having a pretty strong day. A solid start by Lorenzen, but unfortunately, Blake Sabol sprained a knee ligament. He'll be out for the next week or two, so we'll be without one of our key players over this big early May stretch. Patrick Bailey is going to be the regular starting catcher, but we need a backup. I don't want to halt Vicente Alegre's development. We just signed him a month ago, So we're going to call up Brandon Martirano, who we saw homer just a few minutes ago. Martirano was one of our minor league studs of the year last year. He hasn't been so good this year, but he's our best candidate to call up. And as for Bailey, he's going to see a much bigger role for the next week or two. He's played pretty well so far this year, so hopefully he'll be able to produce. Let's hop into this second game as we now sit at 20-13 with Kyle Harrison, the lefty, on the bump. 2.45 ERA this year for Harrison. It appears he is really breaking out. Now, I will say last year, Harrison was great through the first month of the season before completely falling off a cliff. So we're hoping that that won't be the case here. The Dodgers will be starting Shohei Ohtani, the reigning National League Cy Young. Ohtani's been pretty bad in terms of his pitching so far this year, but he still is amongst the MVP frontrunners because he's been so good offensively with an OPS at 1100. So let's take a look at Harrison's first 6 starts of the year. He's 3-0, 2.45 ERA, 1.2 whip. He's only allowed 1 home run so far and has a walk rate of 5%. He is really keyed in on those 2 areas of this game, and it's made him a really well-rounded pitcher. Lefty-on-lefty crime here for James Outman. Grounder to short. Crawford's throw is offline. An E6 for J.P. Crawford, and the Dodgers get a runner aboard here with 1 away. And guess who's up next? Shohei Ohtani, followed by Mookie Betts. Ohtani chases the high and outside slider. What a pitch by Kyle Harrison. Speaking of Ohtani, he'll be getting the start with an ERA at 5.1 through his first 7 starts. The walk rate is really low. The strikeout rate is high. But other than that, he hasn't been that good as he walks J.P. Crawford. Tough pitch to lay off, but Crawford will be patient, and he is aboard. That'll bring up Jorge Soler, who's hitting 190. He's hitting for good power, of course, but the contact has been a problem for him as he strikes out on the fastball, and we move into the second. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of L.A., leads things off. He gets a circle change pretty much right down the middle. I don't know what he was waiting for. That was the perfect pitch. Max Muncy now 1-2, 2 away, and he goes down on the slurve. Another filthy pitch by Kyle Harrison, who is looking dominant through the first couple of innings. No hits, no walks allowed. The only base runner reached off of an error. Jonathan India chases the low slurve. Great pitch by Ohtani. Both pitchers are just showing off some of their filthy stuff, making these batters look like fools. Joey Gallo's now up here with a full count. Gallo's been a pleasant surprise this year, hitting .250. And of course, we know he's got great plate discipline as he draws a walk. That'll bring up Marco Luciano, coming off a 3-for-3 game in the first matchup against the Dodgers. Liner to second. What a grab for the second out of the inning by Chris Taylor. Speaking of Taylor, he is up here in the third, and he hits this one well into left. One hops off the train on the wall as Harrison allows his first hit of the game. It'll be a 1-out double for Taylor, and so he is in scoring position as the Dodgers look to strike first. Back to the top of the order, Freddie Freeman, the future Hall of Famer, single into center. Run looks to score. The throw from Lee is a good one, but just a little bit late. And Freddie Freeman has the Dodgers on the board first. They lead at 1-0. That'll bring us to James Outman. He reached off of an error in his first at-bat of the game, behind 1-2. Goes down on the slurve. Another punch out here for Kyle Harrison, continuing his very strong performance. Shohei Ohtani is now up, 1-2. Got him looking on the fastball. The strikeouts in full effect for Kyle Harrison, but the Dodgers do score with the single by Freddie Freeman. Let's go bottom 3. Giants still searching for their first hit. They might get it here with Thairo Estrada, as that one is over the left fielder's head. Estrada looks to key in for second, and he's safe with a double. Estrada's been very up and down through the first season plus of this series, but over the last week or so, he's played some of his best baseball. All 4 of his home runs this year have come in the last 5 or so games. Jung-Hoo Lee looks to bring him in, grounded to short. Betts is going to send it to third. Estrada is tagged out, so it's a fielder's choice. Before you get mad at me, the game sent Estrada. That was not my decision. Don't hate the player, hate the game. J.P. Crawford strikes out on the cutter. Good pitch by Ohtani. That'll bring up Jorge Soler now, the 1-2. And Soler crushes it into right. If it's fair, it might be gone. And it's not. Instead, it's caught. And that'll end the inning. What happened there? So, it turns out, I don't know what Soler was thinking with that ball possibly being a home run, because not only did that stay on the field of play, but that wasn't even close. I guess when you're hitting 190, that'll happen. But as you can see, that was not even close to the fence. And it's caught at the wall. Nice snag by James Outman. So I don't know what the thought was from Jorge Soler there as we move into the fourth. Mauricio Dubon hits that one down the line for a base hit. Dubon is looking for second. Throw from Soler is in time! Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Soler not known for his defense, but he's made some really nice plays in left this year. In the last episode, he had a crazy catch against San Diego. And now with a great throw here to second as Dubon is unable to get the double. And we'll move into the bottom of the fourth. Max Kepler leads things off. He's been pretty solid this year. He's played up to expectation as he goes down on the splitter. Fourth strikeout for Ohtani. Let's move into the fifth now. Still 1-0. A pitching duel. Certainly a far cry from what we saw from the minor league teams, as that's a leadoff single for Max Muncy, and he starts the inning aboard for L.A. Miguel Rojas now. He hits this one well into left. Muncy was already going, so he's got a chance to possibly score here, and it looks like he will. It's an RBI double for Miguel Rojas, and the Dodgers add to the lead as it is now 2-0. Big swing for Rojas. Freddie Freeman now with a runner on third. Singles this one up the middle into center. Rojas will obviously score. Freeman now 2 for 3. He's driven in a pair, and the Dodgers lead at 3-0. Kyle Harrison is quickly starting to slow down, but the Giants trust their young lefty to get out of the inning, and it looks like he will. 4-6-3, inning-ending double play, and that'll probably be it for Kyle Harrison. 5 innings of 3-run ball. I feel like the numbers aren't going to do him justice, though. He had a really strong performance, and his offense has given him no run support. Luciano strikes out on the fastball. A great pitch by Ohtani, who, again, has not gotten off to a great start this year as a pitcher, but today he's been brilliant. He fools Thairo Estrada on the slurve. What a pitch from Shohei, and we'll move into the sixth. Tristan Beck is going to come out of the bullpen here for San Francisco. He's allowed 2 runs in 5 innings so far this year. Of course, one of our Major League studs of the year last year, despite getting 0 votes. He's still counted, I guess. Shohei Ohtani leads things off, rips it up the middle, but the shift proves to be a success as J.P. Crawford is able to make the play there at short. 2 gone now for the catcher, Will Smith. Hasn't done anything yet today, 0 for 2. As he grounds it to Crawford, who will look to make another play, and he will. 1-2-3 inning for Tristan Beck. Got to see something out of the offense, though. San Francisco has 1 hit today. The offense has been completely atrocious. J.P. Crawford gets that one by the glove of Freddie Freeman for a single. Just the second hit of the game for the Giants as they get a runner aboard here with 1 away and the heart of the order due up. That'll bring up Jorge Soler. He got the perfect pitch to hit, but ultimately fouls it off for strike 2. Or not. He caught it? Huh? What in the world just happened? 5 seconds ago, that ball was flying into the 20th row in the stands, and it ends up in the left fielder's glove? What? Let's look at this again. So as you can see, that ball flying into the stands, or not. Devil magic from the Dodgers. That must explain how the Dodgers won the World Series last year. There's no other way the Dodgers could have been successful in the playoffs other than literal devil magic. Kepler strikes out. 6 scoreless for Ohtani, and we'll move into the 7th. The lefty Taylor Rogers is in for the Giants. He's had a good season, only allowing 1 run so far, as he strikes out the former Giant Mauricio Dubon. J.P. Fierson is in the game out of the bullpen here for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th after 6 scoreless for Ohtani. He'll face off against Joey Gallo with 1 away. And Gallo crushes it into center. Just the 3rd hit of the game for San Francisco. A 116-mile-an-hour liner for a base hit. That'll bring up Marco Luciano now. He's been quiet so far in this game, but has played well over the last few days. Grounds it right to second. This should be 2, and it will. An inning-ending double play for Marco Luciano as it remains 3-0, and we'll move into the 8th. The lefty, A.J. Minter, will come out of the bullpen. So far, he has not really been a very good signing, having allowed 7 runs in 8 innings. Minter was one of the best lefties in baseball with Atlanta, and he hasn't been anywhere close to the same guy so far here in San Francisco, as he allows a leadoff single to Freddie Freeman, his third consecutive at-bat with a hit. Ohtani strikes out. It's been a rough day at the plate for Ohtani. As good as he was on the mound, he's provided nothing offensively. Mookie Betts also hasn't really done anything at the plate. He's 0 for 3. Make it 0 for 4. Goes down on the fastball. Good pitch by Minter. Good inning. Striking out Ohtani and Betts. And we'll move into the bottom of the 8th. Evan Phillips will come out of the bullpen. Phillips is no longer their closer. Instead, it's Phil Maton. Don't really get the thought process there, but okay. Pat Bailey leads things off. Checks his swing. Almost went around. I don't know what he was thinking, but he dodges a bullet. As that'll be a leadoff walk. That'll bring up Thairo Estrada, who is one of San Francisco's 3 hits today. Looking for another, and he will not get it. 6-4-3 double play. Not good. So Estrada will unfortunately have 2 out there, and that'll bring up Jun-Hoo Lee, who sends this one into the gap for a base hit. So the Giants get their base runner back, if nothing else. And with that, the Dodgers are going to bring in their closer, Phil Maton. He hasn't really given them the stamp of approval in terms of his performance this year. 5.19 ERA, but he is 8 of 9 in save ops so far. He'll face off against J.P. Crawford. Lee is going, of course, with a full count as Crawford crushes it into left center. But a one-hop up the wall, and finally the Giants are on the board. It's an RBI double for J.P. Crawford, and San Francisco makes it 3-1 with the tying run at the plate. And guess who's up? It's Jorge Soler, who this game clearly has a vendetta against with some of these outs. Grounds it to short. Betts makes the play. It looked like it was going to be a base hit, but Dodger Devil magic strikes again. Or just anti-Jorge Soler magic. One of the two. We'll move into the 9th now. Tyler Rogers is in. Hasn't quite been as good as his twin brother, but he's been very solid himself with a sub-3 ERA as Will Smith grounds it to first. Gallo scoops it up for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Mauricio Dubon, the former Giant, and he sends this one in to right. That'll go for a hit, and with one away, Dubon is aboard for the Dodgers as they would love to add some insurance. Max Muncy goes down on the sinker. Nice pitch by the submarine throwing Rogers, and we'll move bottom 9. Kepler gets a piece of this one. Into right center field at the wall almost, but it's caught. That's a home run in most ballparks, but not here in San Francisco. Jonathan India up the middle. Mookie Betts diving play. Throw to first is in time. The Dodgers are getting every break right now. This is literally devil magic. That'll bring us to Joey Gallo. The hope is on him. 3-1. Gallo crushes it into right center. A home run at some parks, but not Oracle. The Giants fall to the Dodgers. 3-1 your final score. I think LA might have gotten Satan to interfere with this game with how some of these plays went, especially with the Jorge Soler at bats. I don't even know what the deal was there. Clearly, the Dodgers had to have used this in some way in the playoffs last year. Again, there's no other reason to how they would have won their championship. The Dodgers' offense wasn't all that good, but their pitching was, with 6 scoreless from Ohtani. The bullpen was a little shaky. We definitely played better once Ohtani was off the mound, but ultimately, the offense didn't do enough. Kyle Harrison had a solid start. He does take the L, his first of the year. So we're unable to complete the San Fran sweep, but we do win 2 of our 3 organizations' games, and with that, we're going to simulate the next week. And this is going to be a big test for us. The Cubs and the Blue Jays are no slouch, and obviously we get the Dodgers again. If we go like 4-3 here, I think that'd be a success. That starts with this game here against the Dodgers. We were up 4-1 going into the 8th before allowing 4. Runner on third, 2 away. Thairo Estrada will replace Joey Gallo. Gallo is absolutely the wrong guy to hit here, so Estrada's going to come off the bench as he hits this one high into right field, but it will be caught. Will the Giants get another opportunity for the comeback, or will they lose the series? It looks like we will. Bottom 9, Marco Luciano with a double. He's at second. Luciano, by the way, 3 for 4 with a home run and 4 RBIs. He has been a man on a mission today, as David Villar will be replaced by the last player on the bench, Brandon Martirano, his first big league at bat, and it's an awfully high leverage situation. He ends up flying out into left. We're not going to tag up Luciano. It's not worth it. Let's give the top of the order an opportunity to make a play and win the game. It's Jonathan India who's 0 for 4. He's not been good in this series, 1 for 12. Looking to change that here. The 1-2 almost swung at a sweeping curve well outside the zone, but luckily he pulls out at the last second. Pause. The 2-2, India up the middle. Base hit. Luciano looks to score. He is going to be safe at the plate. And the Giants tie it at 5. It's Jonathan India who comes up clutch, and he's understandably fired up. Can J.P. Crawford win it? Doesn't look like it. He'll fly it into right. It is caught. So we are headed to extra innings with a 2-out RBI single from Jonathan India to keep the game alive. And we'll go bottom 10. The Dodgers scored 1 in the top half of the inning. So with Crawford on second, the winning run is at the plate. And it's Jorge Soler. Isn't that fitting? We'll see if karma will bite the Dodgers in the rear end. Soler's been pretty good today. 2 for 4, pair of singles. He's scored twice as the count is 0-1. Soler grounds this one weakly over to first. So unfortunately, the storybook walk-off will not happen. Crawford makes it to third, but the Giants will need a base hit from Jake Fraley if they want to keep this game alive. The count is 1-0 here for Fraley, and he sends it up the middle. Maton makes the play, and that'll do it. Dodger Devil Magic strikes again. LA wins it 6-5, and ultimately they end up winning the series. I give us credit, though. We certainly made things interesting and nearly won the series, but we blew it in the 8th inning. Robbie Ray allowed 2, and then Jose Leclerc allowed 2 more. Keaton Wynn, broken shin, out 2 to 3 months. That sucks. Patrick Bailey, ACL sprain, out for a week or 2. That also sucks. So now both of our catchers are hurt. We're going to call up Andy Thomas to the big league level. And now we're going to hop into this game here against the Cubs. We lost the first 2 against Chicago. We're in danger of getting swept. We led this game 5-2, but the Cubs have scored 4 over the last 2 innings, and it's up to J.P. Crawford to keep the game alive. That one's off the wall. We're tied at 6. So Crawford will come up big and keep the game alive for the Giants. So with that, Adbert Alzolay is yanked. He'll be replaced by Mark Leiter Jr. 2 runners in scoring position. Now it's Austin Slater who can make the big play. And it looks like he will over the glove of the second baseman. 1 run scores. Crawford looks to join. He is safe. And San Francisco leads it 8-6 with a 2-run single by Austin Slater. Andy Thomas off the bench. His first career at bat. And it's a grounder to short. Dansby Swanson will make the play. But the Giants keep it alive with 3 in the top of the 9th. And ultimately Camilo Doval would shut the door. Despite nearly choking a 5-2 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Giants will hang on and avoid the sweep. Let's now take a look at this series against Toronto. Jun-Hoo Lee is a homer shy of the cycle, but look at the left. I'm more intrigued by Marco Luciano, who has homered twice in this game. Luciano has been playing so well as of recent, but let's take a look at here at Jun-Hoo Lee facing off against Genesis Cabrera. The Giants lead 7-2, by the way. The team as a whole has been really good, as it doesn't look like Jun-Hoo Lee will get the homer for the cycle. Instead, he will ground out to third. San Francisco would win this game 7-2, taking the first of 3 above the border in Toronto. We would then lose the second game, and the Sensei Alegre tears a finger ligament. Apparently, we just can't have healthy catchers on this team. He'll be out for a month or 2. Any slim chance of him being on the big league roster with all these catcher injuries doesn't look likely, at least for the near future. Into the final game against Toronto, Marco Luciano is a triple shy of the cycle. He's 3 for 3 with a homer, a double, a stolen base, and 3 RBIs. Where has this guy been? I mean, his performances over the last 2 weeks have been unbelievable. Against Genesis Cabrera, Luciano crushes it into right. If it's fair, it's gone. And it's foul. Instead of a triple, he almost got his second home run of the game. Would have been his second multi-home run game of this series against Toronto, as he fouls another one off here against Genesis Cabrera, a player who I almost traded for twice last year, ironically. Following pitch for Luciano, swing and miss with the pink Mother's Day bat. The Giants would win this game 7-3 and thus win this series with another brilliant performance by Marco Luciano, who has had 3 home runs in this series and multiple multi-hit games. Jonathan India did get hurt in that last game. He'll be out for a week or two, and the injuries are really starting to pile on, it feels like, in the organization. I said we needed to go 4-3 in this stretch, and we ended up going 3-4. Could have been a lot worse, especially winning 3 of our last 4. Marco Luciano, certainly the big story. He's been on an absolute tear, and it appears that Luciano's finally arrived with an OPS at 1125 in now 50-plus at-bats. We're going to dive into his season more at the start of the next episode, and we're also going to get through the rest of May. Hopefully the Giants can continue their strong season as we wrap things up here. I know it was a long episode, but certainly a fun one. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.